Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. It's in the description below. Reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the second World Time watch released by Richard Mille, launched back in 2015. This is the RM63-02 World Timer. 47 millimeters in grade 5 titanium. The watch is surprisingly light for its size. It's not even terribly thick for what it is at 14 millimeters, but at 56.5 millimeters lug-to-lug, it is a broad watch across the wrist, and you can even see that the strap has a little bit of swell outboard of the lugs. So across the wrist, make no mistake, this watch feels like it's all of 60 millimeters. That said, it does wear easily, very comfortable. You can see that there's an effective camber to the case that wraps around your wrist, and this is a good match even on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. Now the watch is not super thick for what it is, but as you can see, there's a little bit of cantilever to the upper portion of the case, and so it will get hung up on tight dress sleeves. It might be okay with the jacket though. Across the wrist, as you can see, it is immense, but there is that curvature of the strap and the case, and altogether I could say that if your wrist is my size or larger, 16 centimeters and up, you should probably wear this watch with comfort and security. Now, taking a quick look at the strap as well as the buckle, you can see that the strap is completely integrated into the case. It's integrated with the swell of the case and profile. It's also integrated with the taper of the lugs from dead ahead. You can see that it actually traces the arc of the case itself. So this is designed to look as integrated as any bracelet. There's a matte finish on top, and then you can see that there's a little bit of a hollow on the side to match the sandwich-like profile of the case. On the underside, you can see it is a Richard Mille factory strap in outstanding condition. And then there is a titanium leaf spring double deployant clasp, so it have the leaf spring inside that will snap it shut or pop it open when you give it a little bit of prodding. And then, of course, it is all made of titanium. And you can see that even the profile of the buckle itself emulates the case profile of the watch with one of those spline-style screws of which Richard Mille is so fond. So taking a quick look at the case, you can see that it is remarkably large, prismatic, multifaceted, and there's even some nuance in how it's finished. As you can see, there's a combination of primarily satin finish, but also a couple of well-chosen polished bevels. Now, of course, it is grade 5 titanium, which is as light as any titanium, but also harder to scratch than steel. Grade 2 titanium can't really be polished, so whenever you see the polish on an upscale watch like this, you know you're looking at the grade 5 stuff, which is the best of all possible worlds. Hypoallergenic, hard to scratch, and very light. Now you can see that the case itself is tremendously articulated with many controls popping through the case. We'll start with the crown. As you can see, there is a polymer shoulder around the crown. The crown does not pull in and out. Instead, there is a multi-function system, and you activate the trigger down at approximately 4 o'clock, and you can switch between neutral, which is nothing. There's a little indicator right here. Then there's winding, which allows you to wind the watch. It has a 55-hour power reserve, though it will automatically wind itself. And then there is a setting that allows you to set the hour. And note, when it's in hour setting mode, the movement hacks and stops ticking. So it will synchronize to whatever second it's on when you stop it. So if you want to hack the movement and synchronize to an hour, then you're going to want to time your jump to H mode just as the seconds hand reaches 12. Also worth mentioning, the timepiece features a quick set for the date. So you have a quick set system for the double-digit date up at 12 o'clock. There are 2 discs. You can see them under the skeletonized dial, and you quick set using a separate pusher. Now the watch is a world timer, and there is one more control that, or I should say instrument, that I did not mention. You've got the crown, you've got the mode selector, and then you've got the date pusher, but you also have a bezel that is designed to allow you to rapidly change both your city of reference and the local hour. You can see that the world time ring moves with the reference city, and the reference city is always placed up at 12 o'clock. So if I wanted to, for instance, start in Paris and then roll over to Karachi, Pakistan, I simply move Karachi to 12 o'clock and the watch does the math for me. You'll note that there's a 24-hour reference ring outboard. Now this moves counterclockwise, and we have 24 cities representing the world's 24 principal time zones. I understand that this is an imperfect solution. There are 15-minute and 30-minute fractional time zone differences, and some within time zones that are up to an hour off. However, this system is convenient and universal. Having been invented by Louis Coutier in the 1930s, it remains the standard for world time watches. Now, you can see one side is blue and one side is white, the semicircles indicating approximately where it is day and night. You can see that the dial is surprisingly nuanced, with a combination of satin finishing atop the Dauphine hands, then high polish on their sides. The finish is much appreciated. You can also see that there is a sort of floating sapphire beneath a sapphire, as there are indications printed on a sapphire hovering just over the dial, and they feature the numerals as well as these silver and red triangular indices, the Richard Mille nomenclature and the model name. Now you can appreciate the fact that this watch allows you to see into the CRMA4 movement from the dial side, but to get the full benefit you want to turn it over. Now, unlike previous Richard Mille timepieces, this is a manufacturer movement, or at the very least, it is Richard Mille's exclusive movement. It is called the CRMA4, and it is made of grade 5 titanium bridges and plates, so the movement itself is very, very light with minimal mass to better withstand shock. It has 4 connections to the case internally, which are braced by rubber bumpers, so it's actually isolated in a sort of rafting arrangement from the case itself. More shock resistant than previous Vaucher calibers used by RM. You can see it has a full balance bridge with a free sprung index, Rolex style, so it is very well steeled against shock. Now you can see that RM here has decided to use clear sapphires rather than synthetic rubies, which better matches the industrial aesthetic of the watch. And then there's a lovely rose gold rotor outboard with skeletonization that matches the skeletonization on the bridges and plates. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 37 joules, and it is adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard for movement adjustment. All of this is 30 meters water resistant, so it's not necessarily a submersible sports watch. It's one to enjoy high mech complication and the Richard Mille aesthetic while high and dry. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we are back with the Richard Mille RM63.